This is Belizean Legends, and I am Bilal Morris. Today we will be speaking with the elegant Flair dancer, outstanding choreographer, and artist Lorna Smith, a Belizean in the diaspora that has accomplished remarkable work in terms of dance, cultural dance, Caribbean dance, African dance styles, and in her own way, I would call it the Lorna Smith style of genre dancing. Lorna, we want to welcome you to Belizean Legends, and I know you're no stranger to the camera, so thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me this morning, bright and early, 10 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Thanks for the kind words as far as the arts is concerned. So I'm glad to be here.
Very much, very much. And you know, this has been a long overdue interview. You're such a busy person in terms of all the work that you are doing in terms of your dance group that stems all the way back from the 1980s. And specifically what year?
1989.
1989.
Uh-huh.
I remember watching you grow, watching you explode on the Belizean community's Caribbean scene. You also host a show called I Wake Up Like This.
Right, I wake up like this.
I wake up like this.
It's big. You know, it's funny when people say that because it's like, how did you come up with that? Basically, in the middle of the night, tell you the truth, I wake up and things are just going, you know, like everybody say, you don't sleep. Things just going through my mind, you know, it's like, what can I do? I need to do this, I need to do that. And I pull a pen and paper, it's just like writers, I guess. Pull a pen and paper, never used to like writing, you know. And I pull a pen and paper and I just start writing and it was just flowing and it's like, I need to have this, the artists need to do this much, we need to do that, I need to have something. And anything that comes to my mind, I will say, because sometimes my mouth just goes faster than I'm thinking, you know. So whatever comes out at that moment is what I wake up like this tells me, and that's what I do, you know. So basically, I want to thank you for mentioning that and have you on the show past, and we're going to be right back on the show again because you have a lot to tell people.
And you know, it's also a pleasure here at Belizean Legends for you to have finally make that move and come in and talk with us. But I want to go straight into your work as a dancer, as a dance organizer, choreographer, and all of that. Give our viewing audience how did your career got started? How did it start?
Oh man, it's like they say, you know, it's in your blood. My mom loved to dance and sing. She's still dancing up to today, so I think that's where I got it from. From the very tender age, I've been, you know, I grew up in Hattieville, born in Hattieville, grew up in Hattieville, so I'm just a total Hattievillearian. And so I used to take dance classes at a young age in the city because we'd never had anything in the village. So dancing was always my love. I can be eating around the table and I'll be dancing, you know. Mama used to be like, eat your food, you know. Gal, let me get to the Creole. Eat your food, gal, and quit dancing, but it was always in me. So I started off very young, taking some classes at in the city, by Brunel Dance Studio at that age for a minute. But I'm the kind of girl that jump around. You know, it's like I want to do this. You know, they started me in ballet, but that was too slow for me. So I wanted everything fast. So just give me the cultural stuff. So, and that's what I did. I jumped into most of the cultural stuff. And I think that was a bad thing for me because when I came out here, I would, you know, and continue the dancing with many dance studios, classes, you know, Bella Carib. I took train dancing, inner city, technical colleges and all that stuff. So I trained a lot, but I did not want to go in ballet. So I was an African, Hawaiian dance. Oh yeah, I did Tahitian dancing.
You did it all.
I did it all, you know.
Yeah.
A favorite teacher of mine, Miss Okima Kapaku.
Yeah, I spoke with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she did give you some wonderful words,
Very
right?
much so.
But yeah, so
we will be putting in her
piece.
what she said about you when this feature is aired. I'll be writing.
I'm scared. I was
an expose
the only little
to
dark-skinned girl within that dance company, but
that
was actually major. That was fun. But that's how I got started. You know, way back in the days. Dancing is my love. I love the arts. I love entertainment. I try to sing too, but you know, that's not my forte.
Yeah, you have a wonderful voice. I always tell you that you should try singing some way or the other. You came from out of Belize, right? You migrated to the United States, and that's where most people saw you because people were not really aware of your dancing skills, as you just prior mentioned. But then you migrated to the United States, and you started to continue explode and to advance that dancing career. Tell us about your migration to Los Angeles and how the real Lorna Smith exploded on the Caribbean scene here.
Oh boy, my journey to Los Angeles, you really want to know? Actually, when I came here, I was playing softball, you know, which I was all around.
Which is another talent that you have. You're also an athlete. Yeah.
Lots of talent. Actually, softball, track and field. I mean, I did it all. Soccer, you know, bicycle racing, high jump, and all that stuff. That was me. You know, they used to call me maybe the tomboy and stuff because.
But all that stuff went into your dancing. You could see that.
Everything
you could see that. Very athletic.
Thank you. And even the limbo, you know, I think that's why I have my little backache right now because I think not too many of us was doing the limbo at the time, but I was daring enough to say I'm going to be that limbo dancer because when I used to see limbo dancers and as low as they can go, and I'm like, I could do that. And so that was one of my things. But I came out of here back in the 1980s. 1980 with one of the major softball team that my sisters them at the time sent for. And so that was a road trip. We came through Mexico. I was about 12, 13 at the time, hanging with...
Very young.
Very young. I told you I was daring. Now you see why I'm so, like they call it, pushy and straight to the point. Because at an early age, I was at 10. I was playing softball in Hattieville on that Hattieville team, and then at a young teen age, I was hitting the big league in Belize. So I knew if I had stayed there, I was gonna be trouble. But 1980 is when I came out here. When I came out here at that time, my sister, they didn't really know my arts. You know, they didn't know me that well because I was still a little tiny thing. And I'm still tiny, but I was so tiny that
small things come in big packages.
Mm-hmm. So they thought I was just a little fragile little girl, right? Fragile. You're right. So playing softball was one of my baby too. But softball and dancing was going hand to hand. So that's why people were saying you were so busy because we were touring across the globe. And back to my dancing career, because that is what your question was. But I just want to let you know that my other...
Very important that you mentioned the athletic part, that you came with the softball team.
Right. So that is one of my other things that I want you to know, that besides dancing, softball was one of my major, because I was actually Golden Glove, and was taking every MVP when I got out here. So, but as far as dancing, I came out here and I got hooked up with some major dance teachers, doing tap, ballet, and all the arts of dance. But my cultural dance was my thing, you know. So I ran into one of my lady here that I really love, Miss Bella Carib. She had a Caribbean dance company at the time. Lorna.
Yes.
She had a Caribbean dance company at the time called Ballet Socariba, something like that. And I hooked up with her, and everything was history at that point. So that is what I loved.
Yeah.
You know?
Wonderful. I like that whole transition that you made out of Belize. It's a very constructive move, because then you came working with a softball team, which also expresses why is it that you're such this athletic dancer. When you watch you perform, you can see the athleticism inside of you. You can see where, that person, that artist there, Lorna Smith, you could see that she may have played some kind of sport, and that explains the athletic part. And I remember for the very first time seeing you perform. I guess at 12, 13 you came to Los Angeles. And I remember in 1983, I remember for the very first time seeing you perform.
I don't even remember.
And I can't remember exactly. I guess it was probably with Bella Carib. It was with her dance troupe that you're talking about.
Most likely.
Right? And you could see that you stood out. I remember that very vividly, because I was covering an event for a newspaper called Belizean Focus that I had published with a group, edited and published that newspaper. And I remember doing a story about that particular event where I saw you perform. And you stood out, as I said. You stood out, as I said. At the time, your brother, Stephen Mystery.
Steve?
Yeah, he had a band that I used to go to watch him and Brother David them at the residence. I remember meeting your older brother, and he telling me about that house where you guys lived off La Brea.
That was actually the spot for parties and everything. So
there you go. And I remember I used to go back there and watch him perform, rehearse him and the band. But you stood out, and you mentioned your work with Bella Carib, Queenlorna, that is Barbado's #1 dancer, the incredible Bella Carib, and the legendary Bella Carib.
That's right.
But we want to talk about you as a legend yourself.
Okay.
What did you bring from out of the Bella Carib dance troupe, the Bella Carib umbrella? What did you get from under that incredible and legendary dance teacher and instructor?
Well, I gained a lot of, first of all, respect from from all of my teachers. And when it comes to my Caribbean roots, I gained that from Bella, which she instilled in me, because there's a lot of things that, I didn't think I can do. And she was telling me certain things, and I was taking it personally, you know what I mean? So she brought out what I'm not doing, and if I was the kind that was easy to quit, I would have quit back then, and dancing would have been out of my bones. But because I was determined, and this is what I wanted to do, I've gained that skills of first of all, the down-to-earth culture, and I created into my own style, basically, which sometimes is not a good thing, because I would take a little step and I make it my own, and then the teacher will come back and say, what are you doing, but this is how I am, and that's the reason why today my style is a combination of what I've learned from her, of course, and what the African group that I was in and the Hawaiian group that I was in, I take those styles and I combined all that together. And I guess today with Elegant Flair Dance Company, why our style and skill is so high tempo and so unique to individual, because my mind is always thinking. So I take everything together, and I tell him today, I mix it all up. So, for instance, an African routine, they'd be like, "What style is that?" I'm like, "That's Lorna's style, but I do have the training in that West African, but I will not tell you that this is just West African, because I'm a mix of some Caribbean and African style dance moves together and make it my own, and that's the way I operate, so they will never know what I'm coming with."
Right.
You know. Right. So as far as my girls, them today, and this is like over 25 years later, you know, they're still enjoying that elegant flair. Whenever they see something, they'll be like, "That's not elegant flair. We know that," you know. So that is a good thing. So I want to thank all my teachers. I love them all. I worked hard. There's some things that I know that I just create and do my own, but it all make me very, you know, a very strong individual and a very strong dancer at this point.
A genre, a unique style of dancing will always come out. In terms of how you explained that just now, combining, because that's what creativity is, and that's how you are able to create something of your own. You may have had different teachers that may have had different style. Right. Your Hawaiian teacher, you have the African style. You combine all these things. You combine all these different styles into your own style. That's what you were feeling at the time. And you could have seen that looking in and looking at the performances that you have done over the years with Elegant Flair. You could have seen a little bit of everything that you talk about inside of your style. But at the same time, you could also see where you carved out something of your own, right, which is very important, because a lot of artists copy, but they would just copy, but then they cannot come up with something unique, right? And I remember Prince saying one time, he don't listen to other artists when he was coming up at 18. You know, he knew he was good, and so he shut off the radio. And he saw he could come up with his own style. I think that is very important. In dancing, you cannot necessarily do that, because then you are around all these performers. You had to perform, and you are seeing all these different things. This is dance, and that, in terms of him, was sound. Do you feel like you have created a style of your own? Do you feel like you have created a style of your own, combining all these different genres of music that you just mentioned about?
Yeah, I honestly do. I honestly do. With some of the dances, some things you cannot stray from what it's supposed to be, because there's a form for everything. You know, be like, that's not the form. You know, with the African style, that's not the form. With the Caribbean style, that's not the form. So some of the things we have to keep what it is in order for people to know exactly what you're doing. Okay, so you don't want to totally just dance and nothing makes sense. But with what I teach, and I also want to give many credits to my assistant director, Miss Pat Warren. As you know, she's an American, but she, you know, she works with...
That's one of the daughters of Paul Warren and Pearl Warren?
No. She's actually here. She's the other dance teacher.
Okay.
You know, that's
she is American. No kind of Belizean heritage.
She is American, but she's been with Elegant Flair from the beginning, 1989. Yes. So she's now...
I remember her.
You know her, right?
I remember her very much.
So with her skills and many years of hard training, the techniques that she throw in, so we kind of balance each other. So she have the jazz and the ballet, you know, skills that she trained the girls on, you know, because she was, you know, 5-time championship in aerobics competition and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of balance herself in that way. She have that skills, and I have the cultural platform, so we kind of make it work.
Wonderful. And then you keep on improvising, because now, as you talk about, you brought in Miss Warren, and she brought in the jazz flavor and the American style, African American style dance methods into the whole into the whole elegant flair experience. So I want to go into the elegant flair because now I want to step out from you a little and go look at let's let our viewers see the elegant flair, which as we go along we'll be seeing. I'll be incorporating some elegant flair dances inside of your feature here. You created this very interesting dance group called Elegant Flair. Talk about how that genesis started and how organic that group became when you introduced the group to these different flavors that you as a dancer brought to the table. Talk about how Elegant Flair started.
Wow. Okay, Mr. Elegant Flair started back in, like we said, 1989. First, I wasn't even thinking about having a dance group per se. You know, I was thinking about, oh, Lorna is gonna be just this biggest dancer, just dancing around and making a name for herself. But at some point, when you're jumping from dance company to dance company, and you feel like there's more. So I wanted more. I wanted to see young girls. There was so many girls that I was mentoring, and everybody is asking me about my studio and where you teach dance at and different things like that. So at some point when things was not really going right with me in some of these other companies, I decided that it's time to branch off. It's time to branch off and do my own thing, do what Lorna loves and what Lorna knows and what people want to see. Because there's certain things that you have to hold back when you're under another direction. So I had my own vision of where I want to go and what I want to do. So basically, at that point, I told my friend Pat Rowan, I said, you know what, I think it's time. I think it's time for us to branch off. There's so much more we can do and so much more we want to do. So I started off with teaching kids from the age of 3 years old. We were working with these kids. Wow. Teaching them the culture, because that's one thing that I did not want to die. I did not want our Belizean culture to die. You know what I mean? So basically the world needed to see what Belize can do in a very professional manner, because my struggle was when I was trying to get gigs. Yeah. Okay? The only thing that American was seeing was all these carnival. You know what I'm saying? So they're relating when I say Caribbean, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And they see all this, the nakedness, so I had a hard time booking shows just because this was their vision.